Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good, Aubrey. How are you?
Excellent. Question for you here. Do you ever
Okay.
repeat yourself?
I'm good, Aubrey. How are you? Sorry, that was a joke.
I did not get that. I was like, oh, did we mess
You
up?
didn't
What's
get
happening?
that? I
What's
was
happening?
repeating myself.
I don't know about you. I repeat myself a lot as a mom. I'll like ask someone to do something and they don't hear me or they don't listen to me. So then I'll ask again nicely and find myself repeating myself a lot.
Eventually, yes, I can repeat myself a lot as a mom. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. And then also sometimes I just can't remember if I told, like, who I told
Yes,
a
that
story
happens to me too, right?
And it's so
I'll be
embarrassing.
like, "Did I already
I just
tell you
hate
this?
it when
Stop me
yes,
if I
and
already
I'll
told
say
you this.
stop. Yeah, maybe we should do a whole episode
That's a
on
good
that.
idea.
Actually,
You guys, if you don't follow us on All Ears English, that would be a great episode for All Ears English about the way in daily conversation that we ask someone to stop us if they've already heard the story we're about to tell. And though it might not be quite as helpful for IELTS because that's conversational, life doesn't stop after IELTS. You guys are going to continue using English at work and in your daily life. So be sure that you are following All Ears English as well. Once you pass IELTS, you're going to want all of the great strategies and vocabulary that we teach over there.
awesome, perfect. Yes, exactly. So, but today we're talking about repeating ourselves in relation to IELTS, right? So many IELTS students actually lose points because they repeat the same words. So words like very, important, good, and they're saying these words again and again. So guys, today on this episode, we're going to teach you how to vary your vocabulary and ideas naturally, but without sounding forced.
Exactly, right? You need these tips in order to increase your lexical resource score. This is your vocabulary score. These strategies are going to help you avoid that repetition that keeps you at a 6 or lower. And we're going to provide really practical alternatives that are easy to use on speaking and writing to avoid repeating vocabulary and pulling down your scores. And this will also help you be more confident speaking spontaneously, because often this is one of the things there's so many things to think about, grammar and vocabulary and so much that you're thinking about. This is something that you might let go by the wayside, not repeating these words, but it is also vital. You need to practice avoiding this repetition.
Yeah. So guys, today we are tackling a super common problem, which is sounding repetitive in the speaking test. So if you keep saying the same words like very important or very good, your score, what would you say? Where would their score be stuck?
Stuck
Aubrey?
at band 6 or lower. If there's a lot of repetition, you cannot score band 7 on the vocabulary score. So for example, let's look at a typical answer. If you say, I think exercise is very important because it's very good for your health and very helpful for reducing stress. Though there's some good vocab there, you've said very 3 times, and you're showing that you don't have the lexical range to come up with a different word for very important and very good. This is low scoring. This is band 6 or lower. It's a very overload.
Yeah, because that examiner is listening for your range. So if they're hearing the same things over and over again, it's not going to go the way you want. So first, we're going to start by teaching some stronger synonyms. So what about for very important? Aubrey?
Crucial or essential. These are much higher scoring. Eliminate the very entirely and use a different word. That means very important. Vital is another one. There are so many options that are much higher scoring.
Yeah. Or what about for very good?
Yeah. Beneficial, effective. There's also a ton of words for very good, magnificent, terrific. There's so many ways to say this. And a lot of them are a little bit more nuanced, like specific to depending on what you're saying is very good. If you mean very good food, maybe scrumptious, delectable. If you mean very good work performance, then it might be effective, something like that. So it depends. You need to get more specific with this vocabulary.
This actually reminds me of we were on a fluency party, Aubrey, and so when you said delectable, it reminded me of that because that was a game we were playing. Was listing different adjectives to describe things. And that's a game you guys can play as well to just practice. Okay, what are different words that I can use to describe the same thing?
Absolutely, right? Challenge yourself. Come up with a noun and try to think of 3 band 9 adjectives to describe that, to eliminate. Very good, very important. What could you say that's more specific and higher scoring? That is a great activity. And if you missed that fluency party, anyone who is in any of our courses is invited to all of our live speaking events. We have them every week. Open Conversation Club, fluency parties. They are so fun. You get to know the other members of our community and us, the All Ears English team.
Yeah.
So get into 3 Keys IELTS. And then you also can attend those live speaking events to practice speaking skills and listening skills. So go to allearsenglish.com/keys, KEYS, to sign up. You could also sign up for a fluency course, B1, B2 fluency. But if you're preparing for IELTS, sign up for 3 Keys IELTS to get those test strategies and also be able to attend our live speaking practice every week.
Love it. Yes, so much fun. So then we also have very big, right? So for big, you could say massive, enormous.
Yes, exactly. Gigantic.
Yeah,
There's so many
examples.
better ways to say very
Gigantic.
big, very small. Instead, say minuscule, tiny, right? There are so many better words. So if ever you're about to say very and a common word, try to eliminate that and instead sneak in a higher scoring word. So here's an example upgrade. Instead of that, exercise is very good. Exercise is very important. Instead, you could say exercise is essential because it's beneficial for your health. Now you have 2 high scoring adjectives in a much higher scoring answer.
Right. So don't just repeat, right? We want to rephrase. So here's another example of a basic one and then a little bit of an upgrade. So basic is technology is very important nowadays. Very
Band
sure.
6. Yes.
Or you could say technology plays a crucial role in modern life. And yeah, this is the same idea, but different words.
Exactly, right? It's a much weaker answer to say that something is very interesting because it's always been interesting, right? We want to avoid repeating words, avoid very. Instead, it's fascinating because it allows people to explore new cultures and perspectives. The more you can share detail and topic-specific words, the higher scoring your answer will be. So let's give a few more examples of, for example, if you want to say crucial, which means extremely important, good communication is crucial in teamwork. What about instead of saying very energetic or very full of life, what could you say, Michelle?
You could say vibrant. So the city has a vibrant nightlife.
Yeah, so much better than the city is very interesting. The city is very fun. No, the city has a vibrant nightlife. Yes, much better. Or beneficial,
Right.
helpful or advantageous. You could say reading daily is beneficial for your vocabulary, right? This is a less
That's
common
true.
word, and so it's higher scoring.
Yeah. Or for extremely interesting, you could say fascinating, which is a really good one. So space exploration is a fascinating topic.
Or effective, as we mentioned, meaning producing a desired result. This method is effective for learning new words. So don't say very good. Say something that's more specific to your answer. Okay, so give me a question here, maybe about my hometown, and I'm going to see if I can give a good answer here.
Okay, here we go. What do you like about your hometown?
You know, I loved living there. It did not have the most vibrant atmosphere because it was farm towns and not a ton of cultural events, but the community was incredibly welcoming. Everyone was super friendly. Never would you go a day without people smiling and shaking your hand and being kind to you. It wasn't like big city living where people might walk past you without even making eye contact. Never. That is unheard of in rural Idaho.
Okay, great. Yeah, I loved that. You really painted a picture there, and shared a backstory. And yeah, and you guys, you probably noticed there was really just no repetition. There was just variety. Aubrey was saying a lot of different words. She used vibrant, saying it was not very vibrant.
Yeah, well,
right?
this is a great strategy too. If you're thinking of the word vibrant, but whatever you're describing maybe wasn't super vibrant, then say that. It wasn't exactly vibrant.
Yeah, well,
that's great too. All that matters is that you're using the vocab.
Yep, exactly. So guys, we want to give you some pro tips. So avoid overusing very. Right? We've been trying to do that. That's going to just bump up your score. And use synonyms, but only if you're confident. Don't you think, Aubrey?
Exactly, right? You don't want to take risks on test day. Practice ahead of time. Make sure that you know what all of this vocabulary works. Don't trust the thesaurus and just write down all of the synonyms because a lot of them have a different meaning depending on the context. So you want to learn them in context when you're listening to a podcast, watching a TV show. Write it in your vocabulary notebook with the sentence you learned it in. Write a new sentence that was specific to you that you could use on the IELTS exam, and do all of that work ahead of time. On test day, you don't want to throw out a synonym that sounds like it might mean what you think it means. You're not sure. Don't take those risks on test day because that could pull down your score.
Good point. Yeah. And like kind of what you were mentioning is just practice paraphrasing common topics, right? So education, technology, think of these common topics that you might be asked about, right? We can make some guesses, we can prepare.
Yes, those common IELTS
practice
topics.
talking about them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The environment, you want to come up with high scoring adjectives to describe those things instead of saying very interesting. What might be interesting about that topic? And add those to your vocabulary notebook so you're ready. We're going to provide you with a challenge here. We want you to practice answering the speaking part 2 question, describe a hobby you enjoy. And I want you to speak that full 2 minutes without repeating any key adjectives, without saying anything, very good, very bad, very interesting. And stop if you need to and look up what is a higher scoring word you could say instead. Pack that answer with these more impressive adjectives and avoid repetition. Record yourself. Listen back. Did you repeat anything?
Oh, yeah.
Did you say very? And use this as practice, as an exercise to practice using these strategies.
Yeah. Great idea, Aubrey. This is so much fun. So, guys, check out IELTS Energy episode 1607. That was, Can I Steal Movie Plots for IELTS Speaking Answers? We had fun recording that one. Definitely listen to that one to find out the answer.
Yes. Spoiler alert. Yes, you can. So go listen to that episode to find out how to do it because it is a little specific what you need to do in order to do that. And it is a fun episode. So go check it out. Scroll up if you missed it.
Yes, exactly. Takeaway for today, Aubrey.
Yeah, you need a variety of vocabulary, guys, to score 7 or higher on that vocabulary score, that lexical resource score. You can't be repeating yourself, and you can't use these band 6 words. So use today's higher scoring vocabulary. Do this proactively. Come up with those higher scoring, more specific words to use to practice using so you are ready on test day to get a higher vocabulary score.
All right. Well, this was a lot of fun. Aubrey, thanks for bringing this to us today. And guys, we'll see you next time.
Yes, awesome. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.